Today on UI7 Newsbreak, we'll have the story on defensive coordinator Hardy Nickerson's sudden resignation.
Then with the November 6th election approaching, many in Champaign-Urbana are already heading to the polls for early voting. Our reporter shows how some are getting their kids involved.
Plus, a look at Curtis Orchard during prime apple picking season.
Your UI7 Newsbreak starts right now.
Hello and happy Halloween. I'm Dan Girardi.
And I'm Chanel Newsom.
At 1:42 a.m. on Sunday morning, Illinois defensive lineman Lierre Oladipo was booked in Champaign County Jail on 3 counts of domestic battery. The 6'3", 275-pound redshirt freshman was suspended indefinitely from the team later that day.
Oladipo's suspension will only be lifted if both a police and a university investigation clear him of all charges. Lovie Smith, an Illini, reached out to Lierre on Sunday, but say they will stay out of the situation from this point on.
That's all we know. What he's been charged with, no more. I believe in letting things play out, letting an investigation occur, and letting the truth come out.
Oladipo's suspension represents one of many during Lovie's tenure as head coach of Illini football. Smith suspended and dismissed 3 players last year after they were charged with residential burglary and aggravated robbery. Earlier this year, he suspended and then dismissed star sophomore safety Bennett Williams.
Constantly talking to our guys about doing what's right. I think most of the time we know what's right. Do people step outside from time to time and do some things that maybe they shouldn't? Yes. And if that's the case, there's consequences behind it.
While Oladipo is yet to be released from the team, Lovie and the university have shown to have little patience when it comes to criminal charges. Oladipo's pretrial is scheduled for December 21st, which all but guarantees he won't play for the rest of the regular season. Amidst other losses to Illini football on the defensive side of the ball, defensive coordinator Hardy Nickerson resigned Monday. Nickerson cites health as the reason for his departure.
Defensive coordinator and linebacker coach Hardy Nickerson is the second defensive coach to leave Illini football this year and the last of Lovie Smith's original lead coordinators. Nickerson has worked with Lovie for much of his career, and his departure marks the end of his 3-year tenure with the Illini. While Nickerson's departure seems to be on good terms, his resignation comes right after 3 straight blowout losses for the football team. Smith says Nickerson was sad to leave, but also wishes him nothing but the best as he moves on with his career.
You know, whenever you're coaching, you can't finish a job. You don't feel good about that. So you can imagine how that conversation went.
His departure comes at a time of defensive turmoil for the Illini. They've allowed 536 yards a game and 37.6 points per game, making them one of the worst defenses in the country. The Illini are yet to find a replacement for Nickerson, leaving Lovie Smith to be the defensive play caller this coming Saturday.
Haven't been in that role, but I feel comfortable being in that role. One time last year, of course, Coach Nickerson missed with the death in his family, and I moved into that role then, so we feel like we have a plan to handle it.
Illini football will do their best to rally after losing a central figure as they prepare to face a young Minnesota team on Saturday. In Champaign, I'm Will Most, UI7 Newsbreak.
As November 6th approaches, the election race continues to heat up. If we take a look at some of the recent poll numbers, in the governor's race, Democratic candidate J.B. Pritzker has nearly a 15-point lead over Governor Bruce Rauner. The race for Illinois' 13th congressional district is shaping up to be a tighter contest, with incumbent Representative Rodney Davis holding on to a 6-point lead over his opponent, Betsy Londrigan.
With the election only 1 week away, many voters have taken full advantage of the numerous early voting polls in the Champaign-Urbana area. UI7's Jessica Patemper is here to tell us more about the polls.
On Sunday, I took a trip to the Urbana-Brooklyn Center's early voting polls. Many families told me about the importance of bringing their children to the voting polls this voting season. Early voting options in the Champaign-Urbana area began on October 25th. Many voters participated in the early voting action this past Sunday. Some Champaign-Urbana residents even brought their children along to experience the voting process.
This year I got an email just speaking to the importance of including children this time, And so the fact that early voting is available on the weekends, we've just come from church, and so I thought it was a perfect opportunity for us to include our 9-year-old son.
Here at the Brookins Center in Urbana, those 18 and above aren't the only participants coming to place their ballots today. Numerous families entered the Brookins Center's early voting polls on Sunday. Many parents felt it's important for their children to understand voting and be aware of what is going on in our world.
It's so useful when we have to work on election day that we can come in as a family, and also it means that we can bring the kids and show them how voting works and they get to be part of it. She knows all about voting, right?
Right.
Many families, like the Polks and Lipkas, believe taking their children to the local voting polls is a great way to teach them the importance of casting a vote.
As I was doing my voting, I expressed to him the process. On the ride here, we told him, a little bit more about voting, that the poll is open today and so that we could submit our voting decisions today a little bit early. So it was just a great opportunity to include him.
The early voting polls will remain open until the night before the election. The locations vary from North Champaign to Rantoul, as well as an on-campus location at the Illini Union. In Urbana, I'm Jessica Potempa, UI7 Newsbreak.
Inconsistency is the theme for the skies this weekend. Let's take a quick look at the weather. Friday is going to have some cloudy skies with a high of 53 and a low of 34, but the sun will be out for the football game on Saturday. We're looking at a high of 54 and a low of 37, and we're expecting some rain on Sunday with a high of 55 and a low of 44.
As the calendar shifts to harvest season, apples and pumpkins in Southwest Champaign are available for people to pick. UI7 Newsbreak Megan Zhu takes us to the country at Curtis Orchard.
Weekends at Curtis Orchard is a huge playground for children. Getting a face painting, decorating the pumpkins, or dressing in Halloween costumes, kids are having their good time.
We're feeding the goats, riding the horses, and next we're gonna probably go and bounce on the bounce houses.
You gonna feed them?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Family and friends could feed the goats, enjoy a live performance with apple-flavored popcorns.
I like to ride in the horses.
Besides these, most visitors come to pick apples as their fall tradition. Here we are. It's a huge orchard, as you can see. They have more apples you could possibly imagine. Rows and rows of apples. And I got one here. It tastes really good.
I think it's just a neat experience. You can't pick apples everywhere. I'm from Colorado and we don't have apple orchards, so to go out into the orchard, it's pretty and it's a unique experience.
It doesn't cost too much to come, or you will pay $6 for a bag. An apple picker lets you reach apples high on the tree.
Whoa! Got him!
Even knocked over, it doesn't bother Matt to get more apples.
It's fun picking them because you can get them off the tree.
With a full bag of apples, you could take a horse ride out the orchard. In Champaign, I'm Megan Zhu, UI7 Newsbreak.
We'll be right back after a quick break.
Cute now, but when my owner lost his job, it was rough. I was living on the street, and one night, me and this Cocker Spaniel got into it so bad, I wound up looking like an ice cream cone. I cried a little bit, but thankfully I got rescued, so I'm running, I'm jumping, all back to my old self. And I'm ready to give unconditional love, even if you put a lampshade on my head.
So, is there an election coming up?
You're serious? You didn't early vote?
I didn't even know there was an election. I'll call my dad. He knows a lot of stuff.
Hopefully you can figure this guy out.
Hey, Dad. Who should I vote for in the election next week? Pat Quinn? Rob Blagojevich? Okay. Oh, you're coming down next weekend, though. Awesome. Well, okay, I'll just see you then. Bye. He was useless.
These guys are ridiculous. Friday, 10 a.m.
Kids and adults put on their costumes to trick-or-treat in downtown Urbana on Friday. UI7 Newsbreak's Christy Allen joined in on the fun to see if the rain would scare off these trick-or-treaters.
Perfect! 42 businesses opened their doors on Friday for the second annual Downtown Urbana Trick or Treat. The event provides a safe and fun atmosphere for Halloween festivities.
My kids really love the whole trick-or-treating idea, and we're really excited that the businesses are getting into it and participating. You know, it's during the daytime, and it's a nice, safe place to do it at.
Man's two sons put a lot of thought into choosing their costumes, Rocket and Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy.
I decided to be that because I'm the brains and he's the bronze, and I'm really smart, and that's why I decided to be Rocket.
Despite the rain, many families donned their costumes and trick-or-treated in downtown Urbana. Downtown Urbana businesses opened their doors for trick-or-treaters all afternoon.
I think it's important because it's safe. It's during the day. The kids are out of school, and they're able to just roam around downtown without having to worry about things that may happen in the evening.
Paris expects around 200 kids to come through the event. Participants enjoyed collecting candy,
Reese's and Snickers, Milky Way, my favorite chocolates,
and playing with props at the Urbana Business Association's photo booth.
Pick out a prop for you to hold. 1, 2, 3, cheese! Perfect.
It was a chance to get out of the rain, but some families didn't even consider letting the weather stop them.
Oh no, it rains every year on Halloween. We're used to it.
Participating businesses hung signs on their door to welcome trick-or-treaters between 1 and 5 p.m. In Urbana, Christy Allen, UI7 Newsbreak.
Halloween started early with trick-or-treaters taking part in a local fundraiser. Urbana's firefighters held their 4th annual trunk-or-treat vehicle show. Trick-or-treaters from the Champaign-Urbana community joined in on the Halloween celebration with candy and cars. Families were invited to show out their unique car or to just get in on the Halloween fun. With a special event organized by the local Urbana firefighters, all proceeds from the vehicle show are donated to a charity fund as well as to local families following tragedies.
The University of Illinois Ice Arena hosted their annual Spooky Skate event for students and community members alike. UI7's Kira Kirsch reports on how Champaign-Urbana is celebrating in the days leading up to Halloween.
The Ice Arena was full of Disney characters mixed with horror movies as the Spooky Skate began. Those in attendance ranged from age 3 to 21. If you wore a costume, you skated for free, leaving only few in everyday clothing. 16-year-old Taylor and Trevor dressed as Carl and Russell from the movie Up.
I've been skating for 10 years, and he's just a really good friend.
Taylor and Trevor have been friends for about as long as she's been skating for, and this isn't the first time she's convinced Trevor to join her.
I've taken him skating once. This is his second time skating, and I'm here like 4 days a week.
Taylor stayed close to Trevor in case he needed a helping hand on and off the ice. She even laced up his shoes prior to entering the arena. But Taylor and Trevor weren't the only ones dressed to impress.
Students and families wore their spookiest costumes in order to get free admission and free skating here at the University of Illinois Ice Arena.
Josh, the event manager of the UI Ice Arena, says he was very pleased with this year's event turnout.
So today we just, we kind of want to get in the spirit for Halloween. Sadly, we can't throw it on Halloween because all the kids are going to be trick-or-treating, of course, so we just kind of want to have a nice, fun skate where everybody can come out, dress up, get free skate rentals, and have a nice little costume contest.
Speaking of the costume contest, this year's winners might look a little bit familiar. In Champaign-Urbana, Kira Kirsch, UI7 News.
For more of our stories, please follow us on Facebook.
Or see more of our stories on our YouTube page.
That's all we have for this edition of UI7 Newsbreak.
Thanks for watching, and have a happy Halloween.